everything you've been taught about setting healthy boundaries is wrong. In fact, the way most people do it is actually making their relationships worse. They think they are building respect, but they are really just building resentment. In this video, I'm going to expose the dangerous myth of cooperative boundaries and show you what actually commands respect, a type of boundary that isn't spoken, but felt. There's a huge problem with standard advice on boundaries. We're told they need to be cooperative. That sounds good, right? Teamwork! But here's the catch. They only work when people are already cooperating and connected. Think about it. No one in a genuinely loving, passionate relationship says, "Honey, what should we do for our date night? Oh, what if we established some healthy boundaries? Wouldn't that be fun?" Of course not. We only start reaching for boundary scripts when we feel hurt, disrespected, or ignored. A boundary is essentially you asking, "Could you please be nicer to me?" And that's the trap. Let's look at Jimmy. Yesterday, Jimmy's wife told him, "No phones when we eat dinner." Now, she never used her phone at dinner, so this rule was just for him. It wasn't a we boundary, it was a you command. It sounds exactly like something his mother would say. So if Jimmy was already feeling disconnected and uninterested, now he also feels belittled. What do you think that did for their relationship? It didn't build connection, build resentment. The problem with most of these cooperative boundaries is that they are weak. Take the script you find in every therapy blog. If you yell at me, I will leave the room until you can speak respectfully. What is this really saying? It's saying, please don't yell. But it's also saying, I expect you to do it again. And when you do, I'll just pop in and out like a puppy until you behave. You've just signed up to be your partner's therapist. Is this the role that you want in your relationship? Now compare that to this. I respect myself. I don't fear losing you. And if you cross the line, I won't fight. I'll just walk away. Which one feels more powerful? The first one is a request. The second is a statement of a fact. This is where we need to understand the difference between verbal boundaries and primal boundaries. Verbal boundaries, the one we talk about, come from the prefrontal cortex. This is the logical, planning, negotiating part of our brain. They are rational and often rehearsed. But attraction, respect, fear, and loss, these things don't live there. These live in the limbic brain, our emotional, instinctual core. This part doesn't listen to language, it responds to power, confidence, and self-worth. It responds to primal boundaries. Primal boundaries are felt, not said. Verbal boundaries require explanation. Primal boundaries require presence. Verbal boundaries are negotiated. Primal boundaries are enforced by consequence. Verbal boundaries come from self-awareness. Primal boundaries come from embodied self-worth. Verbal boundaries sound like a rule book. Primal boundaries feel like a force field. When you have to say your boundary out loud, you're sending a subconscious signal. I don't feel powerful enough to enforce this, so I have to say it. That's why it often backfires and invites even more disrespect. The solution is to stop trying to be a person who talks about boundaries and start becoming a person who doesn't need to. A person with embodied primal boundaries don't use scripts. their standards are unspoken. A woman with high self-worth doesn't have to say, "Don't ghost me." Men just don't. The thought of it feels wrong to them. A man who radiates value doesn't need to say, "Respect my time." People show up early because they don't want to lose access to him. A person who never chases doesn't have to announce, "I won't tolerate disrespect." People sense it and don't even try. This isn't about being cold or mean, it's about cultivating a deep, authentic self respect that radiates from you. Your boundaries are not what you say, they are revealed by who you walk away from, what do you refuse to tolerate, and where you choose to place your energy. This isn't cooperative, it's clarity, it's emotional sobriety. It's the shift from asking for respect to simply commanding it by being who you are. The ultimate goal isn't to get better at saying the words, the goal is for the words to become unnecessary. You don't explain your boundaries, you live them. So I want you to think about this. Stop focusing on finding the right words. Start focusing on becoming a person who doesn't need them. That's where true power in relationships lies.